Hey guys, this is Ernest. Uh, I just wanted to make sure. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. The audio really wasn't working as great as I thought it was going to work. I had to do a couple things, but I just tested it out, so you guys should be able to hear me. In fact, let me message that on the messenger. Let me know if you can hear me. Thank you. Just to make sure, but I did test it. I checked myself live, so it works. So I'm gonna go ahead and get right into the presentation for you guys. Um, Basically, right now, a lot of people are in need of making income. There's a lot of people out of work, a lot of people that are staying home. And, every time I'm looking at the news, every time I see what's going on out there, it's not getting any better right now. And so we want to create a win-win for people to make money. And so, I also want to update you guys on what's going on throughout the presentation, and also um, basically what we are going to do differently than most people out there. That's going to change everything. So, a little bit about the company. The company is Wealth Legacy Group. And I like this little quote that I have here: wealth is measured in time, not in money. Wealth is the number of days that we can maintain our current lifestyle without having to work. And real wealth is the legacy we leave once we are long gone. And so, it's more true now than any time before. Okay, so Wealth Legacy Group, we have signature proprietary system programs. We have a new leads program, so leads for some of the agents that are out there. We have a rewards point system that I'll get to at the very end, and a stipend compensation plan. This is exactly how the company pays out to us in the form of actual salaries. Okay, so a little bit about me. I'm licensed right here in the state of California as a licensed real estate broker. I am also a mortgage loan originator. I'm also a licensed life, accidental, and health, and I'm also a notary public. The two licenses that I've had the longest is my notary public license, which I just used, this morning. Notary public and real estate. Real estate I've been in for about 14 years now, and so I'm able to help people with that license as well. Now, throughout the years, I've been very blessed to be able to meet some awesome people out there like Tony Robbins. If you guys have ever heard of Tony Robbins, I've met him in person. He has really, really big hands. And he, really big hands. He's a huge guy. Lisa Nichols, spent some time with Lisa Nichols. She was in the book The Secret. So if you haven't read that book or watched the documentary, I highly recommend you look at that. And some other great people like Adam Markel and Eric Thomas out there. So ask yourself this, okay? In 5 years, where do you want to be? What do you want to have? And big question is, what you're doing today going to get you there? Now, like I said, there's a lot of people that aren't able to work right now, so they have to be, they have to do something else. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you an opportunity that you can absolutely do from home, that you can add normally as an extra income stream, but right now for a lot of people it's going to be their main income stream. So I want to go over these stats. Social Security and the U.S. Census actually, update these stats about every couple of years. So you can look at the stats online on their website directly, but this is basically the gist of it. Okay, they followed people from age 18 to 65, and what they noticed is this. Okay, 1% became wealthy, 4% became financially comfortable. Okay, which is about $100,000 a year or more. So that's only 5%. 7% deceased. It's hard to help somebody once they're already deceased, right? 25% are still working. Those are the people that, maybe they're Walmart greeters, or maybe that you've seen them at Starbucks where they're a little bit older. Those are the people that, ask yourself, do you think they want to be there? Or do you think they have to be there, right, at that age? And then the last group is the dependent group. 63% were dependent either on Social Security, on their kids, on family, just to be able to survive. Now, I noticed that no one's getting on yet. Let me just make sure that we're live and everybody can hear me. Give me 1 second. I hope it's good. Yeah. I hope everybody. Okay. All right, so let's continue, okay? So basically, 95% failed to plan as far as retirement goes, and 5% did plan retirement, okay? And so let's take this one step further. Let's just say, for example, somebody did decide to save money, set money aside, maybe into an investment or savings account. And maybe in this case, let's say they set $1,000 aside. Oh, there's Josephine. So there's somebody. Okay. So let's say they set aside $1,000, okay, and they contributed $250 a month, which I've noticed not even a lot of people do this part, okay? So, but let's just say you met somebody or you're doing this, $250, and let's say you had 30 years to do this, okay? So you had an entire 30 years, so maybe you're 35 for 30 years is 65, right? At an annual growth rate of 5%, so that might be like a mutual fund or something like that. If you notice in the bank, it used to pay a lot higher of an interest. Now they're paying like 0.001%. Okay, so I wouldn't suggest putting all of your money into savings account because you're not getting that high of a return. But let's say in this case 5%. So in 30 years you'll have a total lifetime savings of $212,000. Okay, and ask yourself, can anybody retire on that, on $212,000? And the answer is no, and you'll understand why in a second. Okay, this is the biggest reason. A lot of people don't take this into account. They don't think about the adjusted cost of living with inflation. So let's just say, for example, your current expenses today is $5,000 a month, with the rate of inflation being about, on average, 3% a year. So you have those 30 years to retire, right? So in 30 years, everything is going to be more expensive. So in this case, with the adjusted cost of living per month, instead of 5,000, the exact same lifestyle you have today is going to cost 12,000. In this case, $12,136 per month. So the adjusted cost of living per year is $145,000 per year on the exact same lifestyle. And also, you have to remember, in the future, when we're older, we have other expenses that we didn't think about. Healthcare is more expensive, right? Going to the doctors, different things, it's going to cost a lot more. And so, just with the exact same lifestyle, it's not even talking, with that into account. So in this case, if you saved up in your 30 years $212,000, okay, and your expenses per year in 30 years is $145,000, that means your money will only last, in this case, 1.46 years, not even 2 years. That's the scary part. And that's the reason why the Social Security stats and the US Census stats, even if the people thought about saving for retirement and things like that, it doesn't go over well because of what happened years ago. In fact, I follow this multi-billionaire, Robert Kiyosaki. If you haven't listened or read his books, I highly, highly recommend listening or reading his books. The two famous ones are Rich Dad, Poor Dad and Cash Flow Quadrant. But there's also another book that talks about prophecy. And in those, they talk about, money and savings. And this is his words, okay? Savers are losers. Okay, again, it's not my words, it's his. He says savers are losers. Nowadays, because of money and how it's a currency, you have to hedge against it. Saving doesn't make sense. And this is a perfect example why. And so the cost of living is obviously going up over time. So in your income career, hopefully you're making more and more money over time because you're specializing, getting better at your work, right? And so when somebody's retired, if they have some sort of state pension, if they have Social Security or something, they will have, a certain amount of money. The highest amount that I've heard, which, it took years for me to even hear of a person to get this much of a pension. He has a 90% pension, which means when he retires, he's going to get 90% of the income he was making every year for the rest of his life. I mean, that's, never heard of that. And so we just have to think about this, before we're in retirement. In this case, the average American needs about $2,500 to every month to fill the gap. Okay, and so ask yourself, how are you planning to fill your income gap? Okay. Now, there's a couple of other key components that have to do with this retirement dilemma. Okay. So the purchasing power in the last 100 years in America has gone down dramatically. Okay. Why? Because money is not money anymore. Money was money when it was backed by gold, and silver when it was backed by, those type of things. Nowadays, after 1934, the government basically took us off of the gold standard, and so where our money is basically backed by debt, and the government can print out as much as they can. I mean, literally about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, Donald Trump just signed something where, we're printing more and more billions of dollars to get us through this coronavirus, right? And so that's another example. They're just printing money. Right now, we won't see it right away, but in the coming years, when you see things get more and more expensive, this is why, is because they printed the money, more money, so they devalued our money, so that it'll be worth less, right? So here's a bunch of examples. Every time there's a world war, or for whatever reason they print money, then our money is devalued, right? Now, here's a huge one, okay? The history of taxation. Did you know that some people have paid all the way up to 95% taxes, okay? And so this is another good reason for the government to, because this is how they make their money, through taxes, okay? So if they raise taxes, they can collect more, and so they can pay for things, right? Things that we obviously hopefully need, But here's something very interesting, okay? Let's talk about the 401k, okay? Ask yourself, do you have a 401k, or do you know somebody else that has a 401k? The 401k, some people call it a retirement plan, and, I don't like to call it that, and I'll show you why. But with a 401k, back in the day, people used to have a pension and Social Security. And so just off of that, they'd be able to retire, right? When they brought in the 401k, pensions basically slowly went away. Social Security's, not that big, but everyone kind of leaned over to the 401k, and they see it as a retirement plan, right? The scary thing about 401ks, and I have a bunch of different videos that I can send you guys on people literally losing half of their 401k back in 2008 when the whole crash happened. Right now, we're living in other scary times, so just ask yourself, is people's 401k, how are they doing? I personally don't have that much money in the stock market, but I do have money in the stock market. And I personally have lost like 20 to 30% of my very small stock portfolio. And so it's just scary to think that some people, they have their entire retirement portfolio in the 401k that's in the stock market, that's tied to the stock market. And they can lose, practically everything overnight, if it went that low. And some people they've lost a lot of money in the 401k. And so, that's really, really scary. But here's the reason why I tell you about taxes in the 401k, okay? Seed versus harvest. Let's just pretend for a second that you're a farmer, okay? And you have to pay taxes to the government, obviously, right? Ask yourself, should you pay taxes on the seed or the harvest, okay? So if you pay the taxes when you have the seed, you'll pay the government, and then you'll be able to, plant that, water it, and then at the end of your harvest, that's all yours, right? But if you pay tax on the harvest, then you don't have to pay tax obviously on the seed, and then as soon as you harvest, then you give the percentage. So ask yourself this, the 401k, how is that set up? Okay, do you pay taxes in the beginning, right, like the seed, or the harvest? And the answer is, when somebody sets up a 401k, it goes from their paycheck into the 401k, tax deferred, right? They don't have to pay taxes on it. It grows and grows, and they get compound interest. Then at the end of their life, at 65, 67, they've raised it actually, 67 to 70, when they start pulling out, that's when they pay the taxes, right? 25 to 35%. And so, but the way we should want to do it is paying taxes on the seed. That way, all the harvest is ours. And I'm going to show you guys some numbers on some compounding, why that makes way more sense, okay? So basically here at Wealth Legacy, here's our ultimate plan when we sit down with people, okay? When we talk to people about their property, what they don't understand is they think about it as an asset, but it's actually a liability. So let me explain. Again, this is straight from Robert Kiyosaki, okay? This is a quick definition that he says, okay? Anything, whether you work or not, that puts money into your pocket every single month is an asset. Anything, whether you work or not, that takes money out of your pocket is a liability. So the property that you actually live in, if you have to pay a mortgage or rent on it, and you have to pull money, or have to have a job to make money to pay for that, then it is a liability. Does that make sense? And so that mortgage payment, it's a negative cash flow. A lot of people don't have life insurance. We're going to talk about that. What happens is their debt is passed on to their heirs, right? And it has to go through the probate court. So when we sit down with clients, we go over all of these different strategies. So we go over tax-free retirement strategies, real estate strategies, business strategies, asset protection strategies, and no market exposure strategies, where your money is literally not in the market, okay? So it's extremely safe. So let's talk about the very first one. Okay? By the way, is anybody else on here? I'm going to put hey everyone. It doesn't show how many people are on it, how many people are live. I'm just going to assume that there are some people here though. Okay. So tax-free retirement strategies. Utilizing insurance policies. Okay. So let's go back to this example. Let's just say, for example, if somebody has $450,000 in their 401k. Okay. Now, by the way, quick side note: 401k, they call it a retirement planning, vehicle. But a 401k, a 403b, a TSA, and an IRA, and a 457, they're all basically pretty much do the exact same thing. Tax deferred, the compounding, everything. Okay. The difference is that this one's for private companies, 403b is more for nonprofits and the school system, TSA is government, IRA, self-directed IRAs are more like entrepreneurs like myself and maybe you, but they all pretty much do the same thing. But at the end of the day, they all work the same. So for example, let's say somebody has a $450,000 401k, okay? After taxes, they're going to pay Uncle Sam, right? His cut. It's 25% to Uncle Sam, about 9% to the state. Here in California, we pay 9%. So we're at about 35%. So we get the difference. So it's not the 450,000, but our cut is 65%. So $300,000. Okay. So for the people out there that look at your statement, you might as well just multiply 65% and just see your actual number, because our silent partner is the government in these different vehicles, okay, retirement vehicles. But in this example, we actually have $300,000 to play with, right, at retirement. Let's talk about the three things that people normally do with their money, okay? Pretty much 90% of people spend it. So if you can see right here on the left, they spend it. So in this case, if they spend $30,000 a year, that money will last about 10 years, right? In this case, it says 10 to 15 years. I think it's, way faster than that. Unless they're very, very careful with their money. But because things get more expensive, that's kind of the inflation problem, right? With the money. That's why just saving money doesn't make sense, okay? The next one is an annuity. Okay. Now, life insurance companies issue annuities. Here at Wealth Legacy Group, we can, through our insurance carriers, we have the ability, our insurance agents have the ability to give annuities. Now, annuities are great. The money is basically indexed, and we'll talk a little bit about that. It's indexed, and this S&P 500 normally makes about 4, 5, 6%, all the way up to like 13, 12, 13, 14%, right? But here's a little caveat, okay? There's a 4% distribution or 4% withdrawal rule in retirement. So in this example, if you have 300,000 and you can only take out 4%, that's 12,000 a year, $1,000 a month. Okay. And remember a few slides ago we talked about that income gap, the average income gap that people need. It's $2,500. So if you can only get $1,000 and you need 2,500, you have to find some other way of doing it. Okay. This is another reason why people have to go back to work. Okay. Now the third way is a rental house. And so in this case, let's say somebody has the 300,000, they pull it out and they buy a rental house. Now you have a $1,500 a month income. Not too shabby, right? A lot of people literally, become multimillionaires in real estate, billionaires, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But in this case, because we're talking about retirement, it doesn't make sense to do this, and here's why, okay? If somebody has 300,000 and pays for a house cash, the problem is they're not utilizing real estate for really what it's intended, which is the word leverage, okay? Leverage being where you pay a little bit less and you can leverage the entire asset, okay? Now, in real estate, you can go down to 1% if you have a VA, 3.5% FHA, 5%, 10%, or 20% down. Okay, even on the worst case, if you put 10 to 20% down, basically the bank is loaning you 80% of what the money that you need for that asset. That's the power of leverage. Okay, so in this case, we're not talking about that at all. You're just paying 300,000 for a house, $1,500 a month. Okay, not only that, we have to pay ordinary taxes on that income, which is $1,500 a month. Okay, so now let's just say it's 1,200. Okay. Plus, we have to pay property taxes, right? So now that 1,200 just went down to $1,000. Now we're basically in the exact same boat as the annuity. Okay, 1,000 and 1,000. This is why it doesn't make sense at the very end of somebody's, in retirement years. Real estate is not really set up for that. It's more for leveraging. Okay, so let's talk about the last one. Okay, Uncle Ronald Reagan, is the one that brought this one into law. And this is what the 1% wealthy utilize. It's called the 7702. That's the tax exempt code with the IRS. And it's basically through an insurance contract. So if somebody has 300,000, you put it into an insurance contract this way, you can actually have a distribution of 10%, $2,500 a month, and it'll last the rest of your life. Okay. That's the power of an insurance contract at the very end. Okay, and we're going to go over a really cool example where you'll completely understand how it works. Now, for those of you who don't know about life insurance, or at least, not the basics, here's the quick basics, two huge basics that everybody should know. First of all, on the left right here, this is a little graphic I got from National Life Group. Okay, it's a huge insurance company that we are actually licensed with. So this is one of the companies that I like to utilize. But, back in the day, life insurance was just when somebody died. Now people can actually utilize it while we're alive. Okay, so it's an amazing product, amazing tool that we can utilize for ourselves and our clients. So, for example, if somebody dies too soon, you get the money. If somebody becomes ill, you can access the money. And the most powerful is if you live too long, basically into retirement, you can actually start getting an income from your policy. How amazing is that, right? It's a 3-in-1. So that's the first thing I need you guys to understand. Life insurance has changed over the last about 20 years, okay? Second big thing, okay? Don't let people, some agents, some people, they kind of go over high level, like advanced stuff, in my opinion, kind of to complicate things. But pretty much there's only two types of life insurance. There's term and there's permanent. That's it. Okay, a term means maybe you got a 10 or 15 year, 20 year, 25 year. It's only for a certain amount of time. Okay, it's kind of like renting a house. Okay, while you're living there in those 10 years, you have life insurance. Once you're out, you don't have life insurance, and that's it. Okay, that's how term works, just like renting a house. Okay, because you're renting, there is no cash value that's set up. That's why people pay way cheaper on term. Okay, it's a lot cheaper. But for the people that really want to leverage their policies and utilize it for retirement, then this is the permanent life insurance side of it, okay, where it actually accumulates cash value. So we're going to talk about how that works. Okay? Another thing that I want you guys to understand with everything we do as life insurance agents, okay? So if you're a life insurance agent that's watching this right now, you'll understand this. And if you don't, I really want you to pay attention to this. The products that we utilize and we sell to consumers are indexed, okay? And that's either our annuities work that way, or in this case, the 7702 or the index universal lives. And so in this case, this is how indexing works, okay? You see this straight blue line, that's just kind of an average, but the red line right here is the up and downs of the market. In this case, it's the S&P 500. So as you can tell, in 2000, it peaked over here at 136,000. Then the market fell, okay, all the way down to 78,000, right? And then it started slowly climbing away, okay? But if you look from 2000 all the way to 2007, almost 2008, so that's about 10 years. It took almost 10 years just to get to the exact same spot that somebody was at, okay? Just to catch up. Then it dropped back down, then it goes back up. So you're basically, going with the market, right? But if you look at us, the S&P 500 indexing strategy, this is this green little line, okay? The way it works is it goes up, but there's a cap, okay? So the cap depends on the insurance company that, we're utilizing. But let's just say, for example, it's 10%, okay? So if you see this green line, it doesn't quite go as high as the red, but that is because of the caps, okay? There's a cap that the insurance company has. So it doesn't make as much as the market, okay? And so what happens when the market goes down, we flatline, okay, at 0%. So we're basically, our principal money is just sitting there. And so it just flatline. And then when the market starts going up again, then that's when we start going up. So this is the indexing strategy. Our money is not in the stock market, it's indexing it, okay? Another quick example for you guys to understand, because for me, in my mind, real estate, tying it to this in examples makes a lot of sense. So let's say this is exactly how it works, okay? Let's just say, for example, in real estate, maybe you don't have the money all to buy real estate, okay? So what you could do is what's called a lease with an option to buy, okay? Meaning I will rent this house, but I do want to buy it for a certain amount of money, okay? So let's just say the house is 100,000 and I start doing a lease with an option to buy, and so the market goes up maybe to 120, $130,000, right? That $30,000 belongs to you, right? Because you did a lease with an option to buy at a certain amount, right? And so then you can decide to buy it, or you can decide to not buy it. If you don't want to buy it, then the lease option money is just, some money, that just a small amount of money that you threw away, but you had that option to buy. This is the exact, pretty much the same way how it works in indexing, okay? So the principal money, let's say, for example, the same 100,000, because that's where it starts here. The extra interest that account is making, that money goes into this indexing strategies and it buys the options, right? And so when it goes up, then it just exercises the options. That's why your principal is never touched, because the money is never moving out of that account. Only the interest money is going into it. It indexes, then it exercises it when it goes up. So then all that value, just like in real estate, that 30,000 you just made an appreciation, now it's yours, right? So indexing strategy is an amazing strategy. Especially, I highly recommend, this is the way to go if you're in retirement or you have retirement money. Don't play with that money, especially into retirement. I mean, if you want to play with, and you have extra money where you don't mind losing it, of course, then put it into the stock market. But that's the scary thing about the 401ks, that it's completely tied to the stock market. So if the stock market lose 30% overnight, then guess what your retirement just did? 30% overnight. Okay. So this indexing strategy solves that big problem, right? So now let's talk about the 702J plan. Okay. This is actually a corporate version of the Index Universal Life that individuals use. Okay? And by the way, Palm Beach Research Group, this is a third-party company that just did research on this years ago. And so they looked into this, and this is what they had to say in this report, right? This is the person that brought this into law, the 7702. As the oldest U.S. president in history, Reagan probably understood the income needs of American seniors better than any who sat in the Oval Office before him. Okay, this is actually the same person that brought in reverse mortgages. Okay, so in real estate, when somebody's in their senior years and they need money, right? Instead of paying a mortgage payment, they do what's called a reverse mortgage. So the equity from it, the bank starts paying them slowly, right? So instead of having a mortgage payment, then it's the opposite. You start having an income stream, okay? This is the same person that brought this one in, the 7702. It's basically kind of like a reverse insurance policy, where in your retirement years you start pulling from your insurance policy, okay? This is pretty much how it works, okay? Except this one, nobody really talks about it, okay? In fact, if you look down here, it's named after the IRS tax code that gives it its tax-exempt status. I have to tell you guys this because a lot of people don't believe me. It's 100% legal, and it's been steadily growing in popularity. Okay. Here are some of the people that have been utilizing it literally for years. The 1% will never tell you. Reagan's secret 702J retirement plan. Okay. For individuals, it's 702. 7701. And so this is huge when I read this, okay? Jason Rink is the former VP at Chase. He says this, okay? No one is telling Americans about the 702J retirement plans. Not banks, not Wall Street, not the government. In fact, the government restricts the advertising of these 702J retirement plans to the public, okay? Now, when I first read this, I was like, whoa, this is crazy. It doesn't even make sense, right? And I asked my mentor, and this is what he told me, okay? And this makes sense. How does the government make the bulk of their money? Through taxes, right? And so, if they allow people to talk about tax-free retirement strategies and they're not getting paid taxes, right? Then they're going to lose tons of money, okay? So they don't want people to really talk about that, okay? If you look at a 401k when they're getting 35%, if there's $1 million in there, they're getting 300 and something thousand dollars off of that one person. Multiply that by, 30, 40, 50 million seniors, right? 10,000 retiring every day right now. It's a huge amount of money that they would lose, okay? So it's amazing. Now this guy, Tony Robbins, if you have not listened or read his book, I highly recommend it. And so it's called Money Master the Game, and he basically sat down with some of the financial gurus out there that invest in stocks and things like that, and financial planners. And so he calls this the rich man's Roth IRA. Okay, there's unlimited deposit amounts with no income limitations, no tax on the growth of your investments, no tax when accessed if structured correctly, and any money left over to their heirs cannot be taxed because of the life insurance side of it, right? Because it is, after all, a life insurance policy. So that is huge, guys. Huge. If you don't have this a part of your portfolio, I highly, highly recommend that you do, because everybody should have this a part of their portfolio. In my case, I have a huge part, in my portfolio with this. So again, with both of these policies, you can earn 40 to 60 times more interest on your savings than you do in the bank. Again, why? Because of the indexing strategy, okay? And because it's not in there, your money's completely 100% safe. You have the freedom to withdraw money anytime for any reason without penalty. You do not have to report this income to the IRS because it's through an insurance policy. You will not lose a dime in the stock market if the stock market crashes, which has been happening. And it's able to grow whether there's inflation, recession, depression, bull markets, bear markets, and whether the dollar is weak or strong. Okay. Now, I want to really share this. This is a 401k contribution schedule because I really want to compare it to the 401k so you can see the power behind it. Okay. So we made this example. This is somebody that has an annual income, in this case of $100,000 a year, and contributing 9% of the salary into this 401k, and it's making 6.9% compounded annually. Okay, so I'm going to do the exact same numbers with the life policy so you can see. And I want you to understand, if you go over to mycalculators.com, you can do this contribution schedule on yourself or a client of yours, so that way you can see the numbers on your own numbers, basically. Okay. So in this example, if you can see year one, 9,281, so it made a little bit of earnings, and it goes year two, year three, so it goes all the way down, right? But the contribution is the same, 9,000, 9,000, 9,000. Okay. And the ending balance is really what's going to become powerful with the compound interest effect. Okay. So if we go down here, as you can see, 31 years later, we have 929,000. It's not bad, right? If we go all the way down, 38 years later, so in this case it was a 27-year-old. 38 years later, he's 65. So if he contributed this amount, which is 9,000 a year, he would have $1.5 million in his 401k account. Does that make sense? Now, take this into account. Okay, this goes back into that whole harvest thing, right, that we talked about. He really doesn't have $1.5 million. He really has 65% of that because he's going to give some to the government, right? And so when you multiply 65, you actually have $1 million, right? $1 million that he actually has access to. Okay. Now, if we do what most people do, okay, which is a fixed annuity, if you put that $1 million into a fixed annuity, there's a 4% withdrawal, so that's $40,000 a year, $3,300 a month. Okay, very, very good. I mean, this will last for the rest of your life, theoretically, because if it's making 6, 7, 8%, and you're only withdrawing 4, that means you'll never touch your principal, right? You're just living off of the interest. That's the reason they do that. But here's the thing: if somebody's used to making $8,000 to $9,000 a month, and on retirement it goes to half of that, right? That's the problem with that, right? Now let's compare it with Index Universal Life, okay, the 7702. This example is with this company, Emeritus. I've done this with other insurance companies that, like National Life Group and other big insurance companies. So same example, 27-year-old male, okay. They go off of preferred non-tobacco standard, if they smoke and things like that, because it has to do with life insurance. So in this case, I put preferred life non-tobacco. I gave this person $900,000 policy and $600 per month. Okay. Now, the awesome thing about these life insurance policies, first of all, before we can start getting into the retirement and those type of numbers, is that if something were to happen, if they become ill, or if you become ill, and any of these things, different things happen, critical illness, chronic illness, terminal illness, then you'll have access to your money. So in this case, 25 to 75% of that 900,000. Okay, so if this were literally to happen in 3 months, 6 months, and you're able to get these type of checks, $225,000 all the way up to $675,000. Let's just say you become ill. I mean, is that pretty powerful? I mean, in this case, $600 a few months later or a year later, I mean, you're only at about $1,000, right? $1,000, $2,000 in this case. And so it's an awesome investment, just seeing it from a life insurance product perspective. Okay. But let's go over these numbers. Okay. Now, I highlighted the most important here. Now, remember on the 401k example, I talked about him putting $9,000 per year. In this case, the annual is $7,200 a year. So you're probably asking, well, why isn't he putting the 9,000 here, right? I want to really compare apples to apples with you. So the 9,000, the reason the full 9,000 is going to the 401k is because it's not taxed. Okay, so in this case, that $9,000, if you pay taxes on it first, then you're left with $7,200 a month. Then you put it into here because taxes still have to be paid. It's just paid first. Okay, outside of this contract. So the same person is still putting in, it's really the 9,000, they're just paying the taxes first. $7,200 a year, which is 600 a month. The death benefit, as you can see on this line, is 900,000 if something were to happen, right? But the value, the net account value or the cash value, that starts going up higher and higher every single year, right? So let's see what happens, okay? So as you can tell, okay, 11 years later, when he's 38, you can see, his account is starting to make money, $78,000 in this case. Okay. By the way, let me tell you something real quick. This money, this money in the savings account, remember, you can actually borrow against it anytime you like. So if one day he wants to buy a house and pull $20,000 out of this, $30,000, guess what? He can borrow against it. He can borrow off of his own money, then go ahead and buy a house, right? Pay off a car, do different things. It's still your money, right? It's just compounding in here for him, okay? All right, so let's go to keep going down. So at age 65, you can tell right here, this is going to be pretty much, the last payment. Now he has a little over $1 million in his account, okay? And his life insurance is $1.3 million because it went up a little bit over time at almost 60, okay? So in this case, $1 million, remember on the first example with the 401k, after paying taxes, he's left with a little bit over $1 million. So in this case, he has $1 million. But at the same time, you have also the $1.2 million insurance contract, and we're about to start pulling out a pension. So let's talk about that. In this case, it's $100,000 a year because he's used to that, right? I want to make sure that, whatever my clients are making right now, I want to make sure they have the same type of lifestyle, okay? So in this case, $100,000 a year. So right at 65, 66, we have the insurance company that instead of paying, okay, now he's going to get $100,000 a year, right? Or 8,333 every single month. So that's going to start getting deducted from the policy and the cash value, okay? Let's see how long this lasts, okay? So every single year, 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, okay, just like a pension, right? As you can tell, both the benefit, the death benefit, and the account starts going down little by little, right? Okay, we're already at 107. Okay, look at this. Look how powerful this is. So far, he's paid 273,000 until he was 65, but he's already pulled out $4.2 million, at age 107 from all these hundreds of $1,000s that he's already taken out. Okay, and he still has money in his account. So let's go to this last piece. In this case, 100,000 a year, 100,000 a year. If he went all the way to 121, okay, and he pulled out, he would have pulled out $5.6 million. And remember, he only paid in 273,000. So that's the power of compounding, right? In fact, Albert Einstein talks about that. It's the sixth, or the seventh wonder of the world is the magic of compounding, okay? And it's so huge that, look at this, his money started compounding higher than the money that he was taking out. So in this case, there's $3.2 million in his cash value. And his life insurance policy is $3.4 million. Okay. That is huge, guys. And he's already pulled out $5.6 million. Okay. That is crazy, guys. So hopefully you guys understand the power of, retirement through insurance contracts. Okay. Huge, huge. If you're not utilizing that again, the 1%ers are utilizing, I highly recommend. Now, let's talk about real estate, okay? Now, real estate right now, because of what's going on with the coronavirus and, a lot of people, agents, real estate agents can't show the houses as freely as they could before. A lot of people are doing things online. But what's going to happen, what I really think, and a lot of people are saying this, there's going to be a huge, huge avalanche of foreclosures and things like that, okay? And so we're going to roll back to 2008, if not stronger than that, where we're able to buy real estate at a discount. Okay, as real estate investors, that's an amazing, amazing thing for us. Okay, and for those of you who do not understand real estate and how to build wealth with it, that's exactly what I'm going to share with you right now. Okay, that's what this presentation is all about. I want you to know is, if you understand these key concepts and you just get in the game, you're going to win. Financially, in real estate, you'll have all of your things together lined up. Okay, so now let's talk about real estate. In the same last 100 years, it's gone up dramatically. Even when there's big downturns, like this one, in 2008 there was a huge downturn, and if you can see over here, 2007, 2008, 2009. If you look at this little thing, if we zoomed in, it's a huge downward arrow, right? But if you look over the last 100 years, it's gone up and it's never gone down more than, not that much, right? And so that's what's powerful about real estate. It's a commodity, right? God only made so much land to build real estate on, right? And key number two is, people need food, water, and shelter. So the third one that real estate is, housing is shelter. And so there's always going to be a need for it. Okay, and there's more and more people being born and coming in and needing more real estate. Okay, so that alone should tell you that it's a good thing to invest in it. Now, the thing I love about real estate the most is there's so many strategies that you can, just step into and really master, and you can make it work for you. Flipping, wholesaling, buy and hold cash flow. I mean, literally just in wholesaling, there's people that all they do is wholesaling, and that's how they make their living. Duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, apartments, tax liens, tax deeds. There's ways with taxes where you're able to have real estate, right? A lot of land in that. Self-storage units, okay? If you don't want to deal with tenants that live there, self-storage units. There you go. Mobile homes, vacation rentals. I love vacation rentals, by the way. Secured private lending, probate, lease options. I talked a little bit about lease options on the insurance side, right? So residential to commercial, industrial land, there's all kinds of, you can get into one niche and get good at it, master it, and you're able to make a lot of money, right? But here's the huge benefits of real estate as a whole, okay? It's a safer option than a lot of other things out there, okay? You get to leverage. That's the huge thing about real estate. I haven't met banks that, will give you $100,000 to invest in gold or silver or the stock market. And yet in real estate, they'll give it to you, literally in a week. They'll say, sure, on a real estate deal, they'll give you $100,000, right? So leveraging is one of the key components in real estate, the big benefits of investing in real estate. Inflation hedging, right? So the values, they go up over time. And so, but the huge thing in my opinion is who pays for that mortgage is the tenants that live there, right? Whether you have an apartment, whether you have even a single house, is somebody else is paying for it. On top of the hedging of inflation, that's huge right there. There's tax exemptions. And so there's a lot of tax, it's a tax shelter, tax exemptions. If you run like a business, you have a bunch of tax deductions. So that's huge. There's a small capital required to invest compared to, which is just leveraging compared to, having all the money to have that asset, right? In this case, it's talking about 20 to 15%. No entry barrier to investing. And there's passive income. That one's very simple. Let's just say, for example, you put some tenants in it, they're paying you $1,500, and the mortgage is $1,000. Then guess what? You have $500 a month in passive income, right? Which, by the way, just to tie together with the insurance, if we help you have a $500 or $1,000 a month passive income through real estate, and you let that pay for your retirement, you can step away and just let it do its thing, right? The real estate will eventually be paid off. It'll go up in value, and then the retirement plan, that Index Universal Life policy, will grow in retirement for you. That's huge. Okay. And last but not least, the theory of supply and demand. Again, supply and demand. There's only so much land, so supply is limited, and the demand is going up over time, right? And so that's why real estate is such an amazing investment to be in. And here is one of the key things I love to tell people that kind of, makes it very simple because I like to really put things into perspective and put it in basic terms is sell the milk, not the cow, right? Again, let's say that you have a farm, okay? If you have a cow, if you kill it, you don't have a cow anymore, right? I mean, you get to feast for a month or two, right? If you freeze the meat. But if you can milk it, that'll literally can last you for the rest of your life. Not only that, you can sell that milk, okay? And you can make enough money to buy a second cow. Then after you have milk from both of those, after a certain amount of time, you're able, just through the milk, buy a third cow. This is how multi-millionaires and billionaires make their money through real estate. All they do is sell the milk, right? They never sell the cow. So huge real estate investors, that's what they do. They don't sell. There's a lot of real estate flipping programs where you flip it and you sell the property, which is great. I mean, they make a living, right? You could make money that way. But the way to really create wealth in real estate is not selling the cow, not selling the house, but really keeping it, right? And so here's a quick example. As far as flipping, this is the way it works. Let's just say there's a property, ARV 500,000, purchase price is 350,000, closing costs and realtor fees is in this case 30,000. Rehab costs, so let's say for example you need $30,000, so maybe it needs a kitchen, restroom updated, carpet, paint, everything adds up to 30,000. So after everything's done, if they sold it, there's $90,000 of equity right there, right? And so the people that are selling and flipping, if you were to do this once a year, $90,000 a year, is that a good living? Of course, right? But the way to really accelerate your wealth is this part on the bottom is income expensive, having that gross rental income. Okay. To be honest with you, the numbers doesn't make the difference. It's just you doing it. Okay. In fact, I'll give you an example. Let's just say the rent was 2,000 and the mortgage payment was 2,000 and you were breaking even. I would still get into this house. And here's the reason why. Next year, can you raise the rent? Of course, right? Eventually, maybe 2, 3, 4 years later, can you refinance and lower the payment? Of course, okay? And so even if you bought it incorrectly or, maybe you didn't do the numbers right, it's still a good opportunity because eventually you could cash flow. That's the amazing thing about real estate. And somebody else pays it off. That's absolutely amazing. So in this case, property management, so that way you don't do anything, maintenance fees. So the net income in this case, it's, $8,000 a year. But like I said, the numbers are different for every house, obviously. But the biggest thing is having it, keeping it, and moving forward and buying more cows, right? So let's tie it all together. Okay, real estate, mortgages, and IUM. Okay. Let's just say you bought a house. Okay, it's worth 500,000. On average, it's going up in value 6.9% every single year. So in this case, your cash on cash, if it made 34,000, in a year and you put in 50, that means you made 69% on your money already, right? It's an equity, but still it's there. So appreciation tax, rental income. But here's the powerful, powerful thing about real estate. Somebody else pays it off and it goes up in value. How huge is that? So your $500,000 property in 30 years, remember we're talking about retirement in 30 years, your house is worth $1.5 million. That's huge. And just so you understand, I mean, history repeats itself. My grandma and grandpa, they bought their properties very cheap. I'm talking like $20,000. Those houses are worth about $400,000 to $500,000 right now. And so this is going to happen and keep happening. So real estate is going up in value in 30 years. Just imagine how much your house is going to be worth, right? Mortgage, that's the way to leverage, right? If you never refinance and you make sure that you get it paid, obviously in 30 years, you have zero debt. They have no mortgage on that real estate. And with the IUL, the Index Universal Life Strategy, the insurance contract I shared with you, 30 years later, in this case, on that example that I gave you, it depends on, obviously, everybody's different. But in this case, there's $567,000 in the cash value. So just add that together, guys. No debt, $1.5 million, and 500, you're at about a little over $2 million. Can you retire on $2 million is the question. And the answer, I think, is yes, right? You can absolutely live on that. Compared to the very first question on the 200,000, can you live off of 200,000, retire for the rest of your life? That's a lot harder to do, right? But on this, now we're talking. Not only that, even if you're at this point, you can keep renting it out. So now you're making a full, $2,000-$3,000 a month in passive income. Can you retire off of that? Of course, okay? So that's huge. And in this case, we're only talking about one house, guys. One house and one insurance policy. What if you had multiple real estate, multiple houses? What if you had multiple um, insurance contracts, right? And so huge, guys, very huge. So a little bit about Wealth Legacy Group. We actually have multiple divisions. We have real estate division, mortgage division, insurance division, and investment division. And so just want to wrap it up and actually talk about the money for you guys. Believe it or not, that's what's so awesome about the products that we have. Just with the products as a client that we have, we can actually make money. That's huge, right? But for the people that want to make money from home and have an income stream, this is what this is about, okay? Even clients that they just refer here and there, a friend or a family, you're going to be able to earn points, okay? In this case, it's 1,000 points for real estate, 750 points for mortgages, 250 points for insurance, and in investing, the 1,750 points, okay? And so this kind of works like a regular rewards point system, okay? And I just want to quickly tell you why the company had to do this. There's a lot of regulations in these different divisions. So, for example, in the real estate, the Department of Real Estate with the state, there is a regulation where if somebody's not licensed, the most they can get paid is $250 from a transaction, right? On mortgages and insurance, it's pretty much nothing, right? I believe maybe in mortgages it's like $25 max, and so it's not that much money, okay? And so what Wealth Legacy Group is doing is you accumulate these points and you're able to utilize them, and I'll show you guys how you can do that. And right now we're going to run a promotion because of everything that's going on with this coronavirus, and people need to make money right now, right? And so we're gonna double the points. Yes, I said double, double the points until the end of the year, which means for real estate it's 2,000 points. Okay, in mortgages it's double that, 1,500 points. Insurance 500 points, and in investing it's double that. What is that, like 3,000 or so? And so I'm going to show you guys how huge this is. Okay. Now there's three ways to convert your rewards points. First one is towards real estate, and I think I already shared with you guys why you would want to buy real estate, so that way you can retire and have an income stream, right? Second way is towards a stipend, which is a salary, so we'll talk about that. And then the last one is towards advanced bonuses, okay, when you are a licensed agent with us. And so let's talk about, let's just say, for example, you refer 3 clients, and this is assuming you're not licensed. You just refer 3 clients and you let our agents take care of everything for you. So in this case, it's 1,000 points for single family, 750 points for mortgage, 250 for IUL. Maybe they got disability insurance, 250, home insurance, auto insurance, it's 250. So in this case, it's 2,750 points. And remember, we have double the points that we can earn for the rest of the year, which is huge, okay? Because these numbers are going to be a lot bigger than what I'm stating right now. So 2,700 points times 3 clients, that's 8,250 points. So the question is, Ernest, okay, what can I do with these points, right? Well, these 8,200, each point is basically equivalent to $1. So you have $8,200 of credit, in this case, towards a real estate purchase through escrow. And if we double that, you're at about $16,000. So let me ask you, okay, What's easier, to save up $8,000, or in this case, till the end of the year, $16,000, or just referring 3 clients, which you can refer 3 clients in a week if you really wanted to, right? Some people do it in a day. So this is huge because now, guess what? You could buy real estate, right? Um, and that can create a passive income for you and your family. That's huge. Okay. The second way is with our stipend compensation plan. Okay, stipend meaning salary. Okay, and so pretty basically, when you hit a certain amount of points, in this case, on the smallest one, 12,500 points. Again, that's why it's so powerful to the end of the year. These double points, it's going to make a huge difference. I just showed you with 3 how to get 16,000 points. So you're already hitting this first one already just because of the doubling. So if you hit 12,000 points, you're a marketing associate. So this is what the company's going to do. It's going to create a contract with you. Okay, basically pretty much hire you, and we're going to pay you $1,000 per month for the next 12 months. Okay, so we're basically hiring you for a year. Okay, if you do 12,000 points, you're a district manager. We're going to pay you $2,000 a month for the next 12 months. 50,000 points, regional executive, 4,000 a month for the next 12 months. And then 100,000 points, vice president, you're making $8,000 a month for the next 12 months. Okay, that is absolutely huge, guys. And here's a number of reasons why. Okay, first of all, there's a lot of work at home, multi-level marketing companies out there where you got to pay money just to get in, and you have to recruit a lot of people. Okay, this one, we're not talking about any of that stuff, right? And I want to make sure, obviously, that we stay legal, and so we're avoiding that whole, off of anything that's closed, somebody gets paid off of that. It eliminates that because we hire you on a salary level. And so now we can be paying you for making calls, for distributing flyers, for whatever it is, right? And so that's huge, guys. So you're going to be able to get a salary from $1,000 to $8,000 a month without putting money in, like a regular multi-level marketing company. Okay, because this is not a multi-level marketing company. If it was, there'd probably be hundreds of thousands of people coming. I don't know, but this is huge, guys. Okay, not only that, we want to make sure people win. So we do have access to leads, scripts. You're able to set appointments and assist our licensed personnel. So our licensed personnel, whether you're the real estate agents, licensed life insurance agents, the mortgage loan originators. So you're just helping, assisting them, and they're doing their thing, right? And all we need from any of these is an intake form, just a one-page intake form that tells us about that person that wants a mortgage or real estate or life insurance policy. Okay, so huge, guys. I hope you guys really see the opportunity for what it really is. And this is the beginning, guys, because we're going to keep adding amazing things to it. And ask yourself, where are you going to be in the next 5 years from now? Okay, is what you're doing today going to get you there? Okay, with everything that's going on right now, there's a lot of people sitting at home that aren't doing anything. I mean, literally, with any huge opportunity, big opportunity, which is what I think this is, truly think this is, take advantage of it. Be the first one in, and tell other people about it instead of them telling you about it. Okay. So we just showed you a way on how to have tax-free retirement income through insurance contracts. Huge. By the way, a lot of life insurance agents don't even know about this. Okay, there are some companies that they just push term and invest the difference. And I kind of believe a little bit in it. I mean, if you have a good investment, it makes sense. But this tax for having anything tax-free is huge. Okay, so utilize it. Create a monthly income with real estate, and really invest with no market exposure. That's huge, guys. And so the next step for those of you who are watching this and you want to get started with us and start making money, we have a presentation survey. If you're interested, DM me, send me an email or message, and I'll send you the presentation survey. And it'll basically let me know what you're interested in. Basically, if you want a retirement plan, real estate mortgage, do you want us to do a strategy for you? Do you want life insurance? Do you have a license so we can plug you into one of the divisions? Or do you want to just make money with the business opportunity and have, intake forms and just fill them out and start accumulating points to get a salary? Whatever it is, guys, I mean, this is literally for everybody. Yeah, everybody fits in depending on what you're interested in, right? And so I want to thank you guys for listening. If you need anything, I'm going to be doing this about once a week. And so if you're interested and you want to start plugging people in, I'm going to create a link for everybody, and everybody will have their own individual link. So love you guys. Be safe. Stay home and just be safe out there, okay? Have a great day, guys. Bye.